Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you're having a great day, great evening, wherever you are in space and time. I hope it's been good to you. Today, I wanted to riff on a thread that came up when I was watching a recent episode of Shrinking. If you've never seen the show and you have Apple TV, I love it. You might not love it, but I love it. Harrison Ford, he's just such a gem in this show. He's like this curmudgeon-y therapist. And this whole world of therapy and relationships, and it's all of my favorite things. And something that his character said in the episode that I watched that I want to riff on today is that you won't know a choice is right or wrong until you make it. And it really got me thinking about how so often people are continually chasing a guarantee and they won't act, they won't make a choice, they won't get in the game until there's some form of certainty that the outcome that they want is going to happen. And unfortunately, that isn't how life works. It's just not how things operate in this realm. And when we chase that guarantee, when we chase that certainty, all we end up doing is robbing ourselves of a really rich and dynamic and interesting life. You see, my life got infinitely more fascinating when I was willing to jump into the unknown. And I was willing to have a choice that I make be one that propels me forward in a really great way, or one that I learn from. When I came to that realization that, there's a couple things at play. Like, in my perspective, there isn't really a wrong choice. There's not really a right choice either. There's just the choice that you make. And that choice is either going to propel you further onto, a path that is in your best and highest good and is really propelling you in the direction of who you are here to become. Or it's not going to do that. And in the not doing of it, you will learn very, very, very valuable lessons. You will acquire incredible insight, and you will learn yourself more deeply, which arguably is also a part of following that path of your best and highest good. And I think this is what spiritual teachings are attempting to relay, but sometimes they are a little bit overly simplistic. And sometimes they do need to be expressed and explored with more depth, more nuance, more time and spaciousness to let these concepts really land and unlock. Because when we are living life from this place of you need to show me the guarantee, I need the certainty before I will make a decision, you will stay perpetually immobilized. Like, you will paralyze yourself energetically and emotionally, because your mind will always be able to make a case for each decision. Like, if you're at a crossroads, it can literally make up a perspective for choice number one. It can also do the same for choice number two. And so then you get in this mental ping pong of which is the right, which is the right, which is the right, which is the right choice. And the more you spend time up in those mental faculties, and this is something I've been working on specifically with some of my one-to-one clients lately, is the propensity of the human condition to live up in the head, and how fast we can jump out of our body and go into our head. And one of the reasons why we do this is because we don't have a lot of capacity. And if we don't have a lot of capacity, it's very hard to hold sensation. Contemplating the unknown requires you to have capacity to hold discomfort in your body. The unknown is uncomfortable. And there is no special pill, there's no breathwork technique, there's no, pussy stroking your way out of that. The unknown is the unknown. The mystery is the mystery. And it will require you to have enough capacity in your system to hold the discomfort that comes with not knowing. And particularly in relationships, this can be so problematic because it literally just robs you of the sheer joy and delight of relating. Like, I look at the dating scene, I look at the relationship scene, I look and watch people online and the things that they say about relating, and it just makes me so sad. That people are trying to break it down to some mechanical science of say this thing, do this thing, get this outcome, when the domain of love and the domain of relating will always school you. Because that's not how it works. It requires you to have a relationship with the unknown and balance these two worlds of, do I trust myself enough to make a choice, back it fully, and in the event that that choice goes tits up, goes sideways, do I trust myself to be able to get through that? Because once you lock that in, you are going to be making very, very different moves in your life and in your relationships. Because you're no longer seeking that certainty. You're no longer seeking a guarantee of an outcome. Instead, you're allowing life to unfold naturally. You are in a much more responsive position, and you are able to actively co-create. And it's in co-creation that there's any hope that a relationship is going to go in a fulfilling and enriching direction. You don't get there by running on default. You don't get there by, mentally masturbating it or energetically gripping and having like this very tight control energetic, which is how most people approach relationships these days. They approach it from this place of control and seeking certainty, and then they wonder why all their strategies are just not working. And it's because the energetics are not there. The emotional attunement is not there. The somatic capacity is not there. And when we, haven't tended to the younger parts of us who have been relationally wounded, whether that was in childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, maybe it was just last week. But when we don't tend to those experiences and we just sweep them under the rug and we're like, that sucked, I'm not dealing with it, that was painful, I don't want to have to rehash it, I don't want to have to dig it up again, it doesn't go anywhere. It compounds in your system, meaning that there's less availability in you to connect, to love, to co-create. And if that's the case, it's going to be pretty challenging to create something worth having. And I would really like you to have the love and the relationships worth having, which means we have to stop chasing the guarantee. We can't make that the goalpost. We have to make the goalpost, if you even want to call it a goalpost, a very, very different thing. Like, I don't ever enter my relationships expecting a guarantee of forever. And a lot of people don't like that. You know, they put a projection of it being non-committal when there's literally no one more committed and more loyal than me. But it's also not blind loyalty. It's not blind commitment. And there is a commitment to myself in there as well. So I will always commit fully to the relationship. And I commit to bringing my full self forward, operating at the highest level of embodiment I possibly can, with the most open heart I possibly can, the best levels of emotional maturity I can bring. That is my commitment. And sometimes relationships run their course. Not every relationship you have is meant to last forever. And if that were true, the first relationship you ever got into, that would have been forever. But if you've had more than one relationship, you know that that's simply not true. We like the fantasy of it. And it's not to say that people can't be with each other for a long time, maybe even a lifetime. And I'm not opposed to it. I'm just opposed to, forever being the goalpost and us not looking at the quality of that relationship, the quality of connection, the quality of fulfillment and happiness and joy and turn on and creativity. Those to me are much better measures of the health and vitality and true test of whether a relationship is great or not. And there are a lot of long-term relationships that are energetically dead. Two strangers, two ships in the night, just passing. They don't know each other. And they've been walled out of their own hearts for so long that they have no idea how to jailbreak their own heart. Never mind create connection with another heart. It's really just comfort and attachment at that point. And personally, I want more from my relationships. I do not just want to coexist with someone. I don't want to just go through the motions with someone, which means when a relationship has run its course, I complete it. I don't force it. I don't drag it. I let it complete. And I'm okay with that because I'm okay with the unknown. And I also trust in my ability to create a life that is very rich and very fulfilling and deeply satisfying. Like, my life is very magical. And it's because I'm present, I'm in my body, I'm connectable, I'm honest, I care deeply, and I go through life looking for evidence of things to please and delight me. And when I look for that evidence, I always find it. And because I've gone through life operating this way, I trust that if a relationship ends, it's because it was meant to end. And I would rather have a relationship that was meant to end than drag it through the mud and drain my vitality, drain my aliveness, drain my ability to see possibility, because that's what happens. When you stay past the point of letting go, there is a negative consequence to your vitality, to your health, to your emotional well-being, to your sexual health and vitality. Your creativity will nosedive, and life will start to feel like the walls are closing in, that the walls are some muted tone of gray. There's no color. And eventually it will start to feel like you have a straitjacket that's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And the reason that happens is because we need those somatic sensations to wake us the fuck up. When we are living misaligned, usually the only thing that is going to get us to move is that squeeze of discomfort. You may even notice life falls apart. Everything you try and do just doesn't take off. And that's likely because there's some big misalignment there. There's something that you're holding on to, that you're being asked to let go of, and you are death gripping it. So if you've ever death gripped a relationship or a job or a creative project, welcome to being human. There's nothing wrong with you, okay? And it's time to examine that a little deeper. Why are you death gripping it? What are you afraid will happen if you let it go? What do you get out of holding onto a misaligned relationship or job or project or community or whatever it is that you're holding on to that's misaligned? What would you have to face by letting it go? And these are deeper shadow work questions that will reveal truth. A lot of people have a very compromised relationship with truth. They expect honesty in their relationships, but they won't tell the truth on themselves. It doesn't work that way. You want honesty in your relationships, you have to start by ensuring that the relationship you have with yourself is built on honesty, that you can actually tell the truth to yourself about yourself, and not just all the good stuff. Like, can you get in the shadows and admit this stuff to yourself? What I love about working with my clients so much is that they are such fucking badasses. These women, they blow me away every single day. And I am endlessly proud of them. It is one of my favorite things to be their biggest champion and cheerleader. And what I love most about them is that they are willing to get in the game. I give them even harder strokes than I give on the podcast. I don't know if you heard that honk confirmation. The shadow work that I give them to do is even more intense because I know that they're capable of it. And every time I am blown away by their willingness to get in the game. And because of that, they create results that blow them away. That they're like, I can't believe this is my life. I can't believe that I was capable of doing that. You know, I didn't realize that those were some of the things that were hanging out in my subconscious, some of the things, the energetics and the sensations that were in my body. I didn't realize that those parts were causing so much interference. And once we can bring that all out into the open, then we can work with it. You know, we can love on those parts that have been working overtime. We can give them permission to retire or relax or take a break. And then create some structure and some containment in your own process so that you can lock into that momentum. But momentum only comes when we're willing to tell the truth on ourselves. And if the truth that you need to tell on yourself is what is your relationship to the mystery, what is your relationship to the unknown, which, by the way, is actually your relationship to the feminine energetic. Needing certainty and control, those are more masculine energetics. And I'm not talking about gender here. I'm talking about energy. And most people have been conditioned in a much more energetic container, like a much more masculine energetic container, meaning that they have been conditioned to value logic, reason, certainty, guarantees, control, structure. And there's nothing wrong with those things, by the way. Maybe control is up for debate, but sometimes you do need control. Self-control, body control. Like, control isn't necessarily a bad thing, just when it's dialed up 1,000 notches. There's nothing wrong with any of those energetics, by the way. The problem is when they're imbalanced, because we have a dysfunctional relationship with the feminine energetic, which is raw chaos, raw power. It is the mystery. It is the unknown. See, there's this really distorted idea of the feminine that has ripped through the consciousness. And I was also thinking about this today, that the ideas that pick up like wildfire in the collective, you should be very wary of those, because oftentimes they are not the truth. They might have a thread or like a sprinkle of truth, but they're not truth. And anything that gets going really fast in the collective, and that you notice like all of a sudden everywhere you go, people are literally saying the same phrase. It's like everyone's been fucking programmed, which they have. And they're just repeating, this is the new phrase of the day. Nobody knows what it means, but this is the thing you say. This is what the program told me to say. So just be really weary of that, especially in this time where there is a lot of distortion. And again, this is why I am such a fierce stand for the work that I do, because there's such a strong focus on embodiment and emotional sobriety. And those two things are the two things that you are going to need to make it through this period of history. A time where AI is, very prevalent. No one knows what's real, what's unreal, what's the truth, what's a distortion. And if you live primarily in your head, it will drive you mad. No joke. But when you have a deep, reverent, landed relationship with your embodiment, like you are in your body, and your emotions are steady, you have an actual reverent relationship with every single one of your emotions, you let them run through when it's true, which means you don't have a backlog of emotional debris in your system. Because if you have a backlog of emotional debris in your system, it actually makes it quite easy for energetic entities to hook in, because your system isn't clear. And there are these darker energies that are looking to feed off of your wounds. It's how they get their energy. And so if you are willing to get in the ring and clear out that energy, to get into right relationship with your emotionality, which I call emotional sobriety, meaning you are not someone who can get hijacked. I don't know if you've noticed this about me, but I don't get hijacked. With all the shit that goes on, it can't hook me. And that's because I've done this work. And I've walked this walk, and I've walked the initiations that have integrated me into my mastery. And this is why I can hold people through those transitions and support them along their journey of whether it's a relationship or it's a business or creative project, whatever it is that they're wanting to cultivate. There's a process of coming into your emotional and relational maturity, and that requires your embodiment, your emotional sobriety, and then a specific skill set to be able to navigate just the choppy waters of life, and certain mindset tools that support you in staying in your body. Because every time you get emotionally hijacked, then your brain picks that up and runs with it, and now you're up in your head and you are not in your body. And then the next, news highlight gets interjected, the next dose of fear gets interjected, and you're spinning off like a chicken with its head cut off. Like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm so dysregulated, everything's so bad. Ah. And you'll notice the people who have actually done nervous system work, they aren't getting swept up in whatever hysteria has been injected and manufactured for the day. And when you don't get hooked into it, then you can actually create your life on purpose and also contribute to the energetic frequency of a world that makes all of this chaos kind of obsolete. Not that it'll ever go away. Like, I do not believe in utopia. That is never my goal or my intention, because we live on a planet of contrast. Like, we live with certain universal laws, and utopia tries to eradicate the natural energetic laws that govern this realm. And that's what fucks people up a lot, because they plug into this idea of utopia, of where one day, someday, everything will be in total and utter harmony. And in order for there to be light, there has to be dark. And in order for us to navigate our human journey, we need free will. So we have to have the contrast of the human experience to activate our free will to choose which path we're going to walk. Now, I have a strong suspicion if you are here, you are probably walking the track of expanded consciousness, of kind of anchoring in a new paradigm that is rooted in truth, that is rooted in love, that is rooted in dignity, that is rooted in reverence. So in order to really make good use of your life, you have to be willing to get in the game and make a choice, and you will learn through making that choice whether that was a good or bad choice. Kind of coming back to the quote from Shrinking. Like, you'll never know if it was a good or bad choice until you make it. And again, like, it's such a limited language thing. Like, I am not big on using good or bad, but you get the point for now. And when we get in the game like that, and we've stopped chasing the guarantee, and instead we are committed to becoming the person that we need to become in order to hold the energy of the type of world we want to live in. We can hold that in our body. We can magnify it in the world, and we can weave it through our own lived experience. So everything you do is dripping with that energy. How you interact with people, how you interact with strangers, how you cook your meals, how you move your body, how you read to your children, how you dance with your partner, how you make new friends, how you work with a stranger on a customer service call. All of it gets to be an extension of your deepest, truest, most authentic embodiment and expression. And when we're not looking for the guarantee, when we're not looking for that certainty, another really great thing happens is that it opens up the field of possibility, because your human mind is so limited in what it can conjure up compared to the infinite intelligence of the universe. The infinite intelligence of the universe, or the infinite intelligence of God, is so much more expansive than our human brain can have access to, even though our brains are pretty magnificent. And so when you stop death gripping the guarantee, what happens is you surrender and you open, and you actually open this field of infinite possibility and infinite potentiality, which means there will be plot twists in your life that you didn't see coming that are the best fucking thing that could have ever happened to you. And they will open doors that you never dreamed that you would be able to walk through. They will collide you with people who will change your life forever. They will open a field of opportunity that you may have never thought was ever going to be accessible to you. And there it is. But it requires you giving up the attachment and death grip to certainty, to guarantees, to control, and surrendering to more of this initiation into the feminine energy, which is the unknown, and being able to work with those more masculine and feminine energetics in tandem. So you harmonize those energies within yourself. You harmonize those energies within yourself. The things that you create are a byproduct of that harmony. And so you actually do weave in more harmony into the collective. Now, there's always going to be contrast, always. But what's happened is that we have an uprising of the darkness, an uprising of this like really dark energy right now. But the only reason we can see it is because there's more light that's being activated than ever before. So you got to remember that, even though like the matrix, the inorganic matrix, is constantly going to focus you on, look how bad it is, look how bad it is, look how bad it is. I want you to remember that the only reason you can even see how much fucking vile shit is going on, that by the way has always been going on. This isn't a new phenomenon. It didn't just exponentially get worse in the last year. It has always been this bad. It's just that you couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. The world couldn't see it. And now there is more light that has been activated in hearts like mine, in hearts like yours, and in hearts like anyone who is likely connected to us. There's a lot of us who have that activation of light, that activation of coherence. And because of that activation, we are now seeing, it's like when you turn on a flashlight in a dark room and you're like, whoa, there are cockroaches everywhere. What the fuck? This place is gross. But then once the light's in there, then we can start cleaning it up. We can start tending to the foundation. We can, get the exterminators in there and we can clean shit out. And that's the time that we're in right now. We're in this massive upheaval. Like the demons have been activated and they're the fighting and thrashing for their last dying breaths as they get killed off. Because the light is going to obliterate them. If you've ever watched a horror movie, you know how this goes. The demons always get way more vile right before it's the knife to the heart, before they get taken out. And the organic is always going to be the residing energetic here anyway, especially if more of us kind of distill this down into our day-to-day, which is, am I going to make a decision that's rooted in fear? And I'm going to walk through life needing a constant guarantee, control. I need that certainty before I'll ever say yes to life, because that path will have you literally living hell on earth. Or you can step into the expanded consciousness path, which requires you to walk into the mystery, to walk into a relationship with no guarantee that it's going to work out, but just the commitment on your end that you are willing to bring the type of energy and character to the table that will ensure that if that relationship were to end, that you would be so proud of the person that you were inside of it. That's all you have control over. That's the only guarantee you have. And if you play on that level, you're going to be able to let relationships and projects go when it's time, because you're not afraid of death anymore. This is a topic for another day. But you are in right relationship with endings. Most people are not, which is why they try and hold on. And when you're in right relationship with endings, then you can continue to create new beginnings, which is a really beautiful and powerful thing. And the organic grid needs you doing so. The relationship of your dreams needs that from you. The career of your dreams needs that from you. Your creative dreams need that from you. Your body needs that from you. So let yourself go in this direction and take on this new frame of, well, I'm never really going to know if it was right or wrong for me until I make the decision and I live it. So I may as well live for the most outrageous, extraordinary life that I can create and relationships that I can create. I may as well go for the plot twist. I may as well lean in, because if I lean in, there is a chance that this could be extraordinary. But if I wait for the guarantee, it is only going to guarantee that I never get to experience the thing that I'm always been wanting to experience. So I'm going to leave that there for you today. It's a lot to chew on. And if you would like to come deeper into this exploration work, I have a couple options for you. There is a new one-to-one offering that I have launched this week called The Becoming. This is a 6-month or 12-month one-to-one mentorship container. And I am also opening up the 3 tiers to my group work. So tier 1 is the embodiment work. You get access to my entire body of embodiment classes, that entire body of work, and a live embodiment class with me once a month. That's tier 1. Tier 2 is the self-love curriculums and the emotional alchemy and becoming emotionally available curriculums. And that includes a practice session every month and the embodiment class. And then there is the relational mastery track, which includes the embodiment, the self-love practice, and a group coaching program. And if you would like any information on any of those, please do be in touch. I'm happy to share. I will leave the information for the mentorship and the relational mastery in the show notes. But if you are interested in tier 1 or tier 2 of the group work, just hit me up. Say hi on Instagram, send me an email, and I'm happy to dialogue with you about it. I hope you have a really beautiful rest of your day, evening, wherever you are in space and time. I love you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, friends.